you say, you know, how long ago it was that you first proposed this bill. I want to go back even further. Let's talk about a little boy, Robbie Powell. He died 40 years ago as a result of medical negligence, and that was covered up by doctors and police. They lied. We know that is a fact. And his dad, Will, I'm in contact with his family, he asks if you think that his case first really shone a light on the absence of a legal duty of candour, and he wonders why the Labour government ignored the Health Select Committee recommendations back in 1999 for a statutory duty of candour. So we knew many years ago that some people in authority would lie to cover up mistakes and exacerbating the pain of families because they won't tell the truth. So the question is from Will, did his son's death really shine a light for the first time on this issue? And why has it taken so long to get to where we are today, do you think, Andy?
Well, firstly, can I just say to the family, they clearly did a huge thing in fighting the case and the campaign in respect of their son all of that way to get that recommendation. That was a huge thing, and they absolutely have, if you like, been pioneers in this space for us all now to sort of to build on. The question is why? You know, why so long under all governments? You know, how does these things just carry on and on and on? You know, in Marie's case, you know, 78. You know, we're getting on here for 50 years, aren't we? That the Primados families have been fighting, and you see what happened. Marie said it before. There's a reason why they drag it out, isn't it? Because in the end, campaigns will break down, as you heard related around the Primados campaign. It's kind of what they do, don't they? They play the long game, and then they force kind of families into sort of internal tensions, and campaign groups then fall out with each other. That's how they do it. Why does it take so long, though? Let me come back to this question. I'm going to give you my experience as a government minister from these issues, and I think the role of the Treasury needs to be, if you like, exposed here and talked about directly. Because what I have experienced is, in relation to these issues, you will often be told as a minister, there is, you know, a very clear instruction from the Treasury that there must be no admission of any liability, and any public statement a minister makes must not in any way, you know, get close to any admission of liability because of the fear of the financial exposure. Now, I am sure that is what led, indeed, the inquiry concluded this, that that's why that issue had kind of, by successive governments, had failed to deal with it. But I think it's also at play in the Primados case. And, you know, immediately that diktat is working against the telling of the truth, isn't it? Because if you're saying, no, the finance comes first, fear of the financial exposure is the first consideration as the Treasury are ordaining, you know, of government departments and civil servants working within them. Immediately you've created the wrong conditions there, haven't you? You've basically said money matters more than the truth. And I think that is a big part of the cultural problem here at the heart of the British state. And that's why the duty of candour is so important. Civil servants have got to be protected in telling the truth against that sort of, you know, the grip of the Treasury on the system that often, you know, puts up to ministers those half-truthful statements or evasive statements that they're meant to make in the Commons when something like this happens. So trying to give you the best answer I can, Angela, to your very, very astute question. But I think the role of the Treasury absolutely comes into play. And Marie, I'm sure you feel that in relation to your campaign over the years.
I do. I think that the problem is they don't look at the human cost. They just look at the financial cost. And that for us as human beings, excuse me, we just want to know the truth. Were we culpable because we took the tablets? No. Do we believe that we're guilty? Yes. You can't get rid of that guilt because we actually took them, even though we were never told that there was any risk whatsoever. But they only look at pounds, shillings and pence, and I think that's such an awful way for people to live these days. You know, you need to look at human beings, the suffering that they're going through, and to have that guilt lifted off our shoulders would mean more than any compensation. That's what we want. We want.
Do you know what I'd say as well, though, Larry? You know, in doing that, in making that sort of, you know, finance come first, sort of those rulings, What they're doing is they are underestimating the resilience of British people and families like your good self. What they are believing is that they will eventually grind people down and they won't be able to fight, but you're still fighting. And it's amazing that you are still fighting in the way that you are. I've just got nothing but admiration for you. But I see in you what I saw in Margaret Aspinall and Jenny Hicks and Anne Williams, who originally spoke to me straight after the 20th anniversary of Hillsborough with evidence that her son Kevin had been alive at 3:45 on the day. I've seen it in so many people now. The British government underestimates the strength of the British people because people do not give in and they keep fighting. And thank God they do. Because in the end, they will change this country. We will get back Hillsborough law. They won't be able to do what they've done in the future to what they've done to families in the past. We will get justice for Primados at the end of the day because we won't accept anything less. But not only do they underestimate people, they end up with a bigger bill at the end of it. And that's why I say this culture's got to come to an end.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. Talking to you, Marie, you are such an inspiration because, you've just ploughed on for decades, and I hope for you that the end is in sight. And Andy, the work that you've done to get this bill to where it is, you just should be commended for that, and let's just hope. I mean, when do you think we're going to see this come to fruition?
Well, thank you for what you said, Angela, but also thank you for your interest in the Hillsborough law. As I say, it's not so much about Hillsborough anymore, but it's about obviously helping people still fighting like Marie. And we're all fully behind you, Marie, and that will never change. When will it come through? Well, you hear that statement that you read out, and let's be fair, that's a reasonably strong statement from the Cabinet Office. They just now need to turn that into action. The words have to be turned into action, and a bill has to be presented. As I say, I'm prepared to accept a change, but not one that kind of waters down the bill or removes half of it, which was that legal duty to give equal funding to families. So I live in hope that we will see this bill on the statute book in 2025. I think that is still achievable, and I think we've got to work to that end. The government will be in Liverpool for its conference later this year. It needs to go there, in my mind, being able to say, look people in the eye, saying we promised, we have done it, and I'm confident we can if we all are prepared to sort of focus on it now. We can get this change made.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they do it before my 80th next year, Andy.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I mean, you should have to be fighting in the way, but that's But you go into your 80th year, Marie, knowing that you, Margaret, all the other people I've mentioned, in the end, the fight you've led will change this country. I am absolutely certain of that.
That'll be a great birthday present.
Thank you.
And we're going to make sure you get it.
Thank you, Angela. Bless you for doing this. It's really, really kind of you to take such an interest.
Thank you both so much. That's Marie Lyon campaigner, Andy Burnham, Mayor of Greater Manchester. You've been listening to Angela Walker in Conversation. You can find more of my work on my website, angelawalkerreport.com. Make sure you subscribe and like this podcast. Until next time, goodbye.